Welcome back to my channel. I thank you for coming back and sharing my videos. I am calling this one the end of the quotes section. This will be quotes number 12. And in quotes number 12, the quote is going to be, "Right is right, even if no one is doing it. Wrong is wrong, even if everyone is doing it." And this quote was made over 1,500 years ago by St. Augustine. St. Augustine was very influential as Christianity was getting very popular and growing, and was a very influential member in helping Christianity to spread and people to get a clear understanding of what was fact from fiction back then. Now, 1,500 years later, I find it very unsettling. Right and wrong have been intertwined so much with public sentiment that most Homo sapiens don't know the difference between right and wrong. And I'm going to spell out some basic principles. Right is when you're creating. Wrong is when you're destroying. Right is when you're assisting people to create anything. Wrong is when you're helping people or supporting people that are doing any kind of destruction. Now, the destroyers would like to call themselves freedom fighters. Well, a freedom fighter is one that is oppressing someone that is murdering the citizens. Now, if they're not murdering the citizens, then there's nothing to fight about. All it is a public forum for discussion. And when it escalates into violence, someone is wrong. Someone is always wrong when violence occurs. And it is not hard to understand what is right and wrong when you're real clear with your thinking. And your thinking should be that I would not do anything that I would not want someone else to do to me. And what is happening is people try to put themselves far above by coming across as a proponent of civilized authority and civilized human beings when all they're doing is supporting the destroyers. I have heard so much comment against Israel about idiots. I've already talked about stupid people on my videos, and stupid people, the definition of stupid is knowing the truth, seeing the truth, and still believing the lies. Unfortunately, I would say 40 to 50% of the people that are opening their mouth, they can't be honest about what they're talking about. They're saying things that don't make any sense. They're backing up people that are doing nothing but destruction. And they are slamming people who are defending themselves, claiming that by defending themselves, they are hurting other people. That is why you hate destroyers. Because as I've said before, when destroyers get started, innocent people are going to die. During the Civil War, a lot of soldiers died. Did as many civilians die? Well, maybe so. Because when we dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we killed a couple 100,000 innocent civilians. And I think that killing a couple 100,000 soldiers would have pretty well wiped out the Japanese army. That is the price of war. That's why war is wrong and peace is right. That's why I always push. We work out all of our differences. We don't fight about anything. Fighting is totally off the chart. To move freely among your people, and you're not clubbing them over the head with a hammer, trying to kill them because of what they're doing, you're part of the problem. And if you and your children get killed, you caused it to happen. It is your fault, not Israel's, not the soldier that fired the weapon or threw the hand grenade that killed the people. It is the fault of the people that started the war. There is no exception. If you think otherwise, you are stupid. And there is no misunderstanding. And I am telling you, you are an idiot. You need to clean up your act, start producing, start being competitive, make sure that you're not doing one thing, and that means hide information that the bad people are doing. The mafia did it all the time. They killed anyone that told on them. Because if the good people find out what the bad people are doing, they stop it. And the bad people don't want it stopped. So they're willing to kill good people just for talking, just for giving up the information about what they're doing. And what they're doing should be stopped by you. And if you haven't got balls enough to do it, it's your responsibility to help the people that are trying to stop it. And what we need to do is start learning to do what is right. And one of the things that's right, and I'll throw back in again, is the equality of women. I think if women were equal, we would not have the garbage going on that's going on. And the reason I think that is more than 4 times the garbage is going on in every single Islamic community. The Islamic people make women as second-class citizens, so they're taking away half of the production of the people by making the women nothing much more than a sex slave for their men. And the men can call them their wives or their concubines or their people taking in conflict, any excuse they have. But what they're really doing is subjugating women as second-class citizens. And as I said, the reason the Philistines did as well as the Philistines did is they treated the women absolutely equal. Now, I'll throw in a little pitch here for Hawaiian Honey. I'm still working with her, trying to figure out what was going on. It is true that she doesn't have a clue why the people did the things they did. But when I posed different questions to her about what would you think about this or that, she does agree that it would be possible that the men or the women would do the kind of things that I'm suggesting. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that we need to do so that we end all fighting. For the 8,000 years, the Philistines were the number one civilization on the earth. There was no fighting. And we need to reinstill that so that that comes back as the normal. And all the things to do with Islam is nothing but misinterpretation, lying, cheating, and stealing. And so what we need to do is to cut all of that out. I've already expressed it's all a fraud anyway, and anyone that has even looked into it. And another little piece of icing on the cake is the gentleman that is a linguist that looked at the dialect that they had in that part of Saudi Arabia, which was where Mecca and Medina is, where supposedly Muhammad was born, raised, and died. Well, there was no Muhammad. He never existed. It was all made up by caliphs afterwards that said Muhammad said it, so they could just agree that they were going along with it. And I've already said, when people tell you anything, 400 people were died when Israel dropped the bombs. Well, the 400 people were probably all terrorists. And it doesn't make any difference if you say, and half of them were children and half women. Or if you were told that. They're all lies. It's nothing but lies. And you know something? That is why that your country of Iran may get seriously punished by Israel and the United States unnecessarily, totally unnecessarily, because they should not kill anyone except the leaders. You kill the Ayatollah, you tell the second command, if you don't do a 180-degree U-turn, we're taking you out too. And if he doesn't take a 180-degree turn, you kill him too. Now, I said we don't kill these people until they've murdered 3 of their citizens. I would be willing to bet that there would not be a need to kill 3 of the political individuals. The political individuals are smart enough that if a couple of them get killed, you do the 180-degree U-turn and you start doing what others tell you you have to do. You can't murder your own citizens and live and get away with it, because the world is going to come and eliminate you. Now, if we would do that, Iran would be back on our side. In Iran, there were hundreds of thousands of them came out and believed the lie that they were told that the Shah of Iran had killed 60,000 Iranians when he had not had one of them shot. All he did was get out of town and say, I am not going to start killing Iranians in order to keep my position. So he just left and let them have what they wanted. And what they wanted has cost them more than 100,000 of their citizens, more than double the lie that was told about the Shah. So when you believe the liars, they're doing double the damage that you're being told as a lie. So don't believe the lie. Don't buy the stupidity just because, oh, the lie sounds terrible and I have to help the people that are being damaged. No, no one's being damaged. The people that are getting what they're getting deserve it. And the reason you know that is there is no doubt. Everyone on both sides knows who started the war. And the start of the war is responsible for every single death. Even if an Israeli soldier accidentally shoots another Israeli soldier, that is at the hands of Hamas. They are responsible for every one of them, because if they hadn't started it, none of those mistakes would happen. Once the war starts, yes, mistakes are going to happen. And particularly when they go out of their way to hide themselves among the innocent little people that aren't supporting them. If the innocent people weren't supporting them, they would have hit them in the head with a hammer. And they wouldn't have been a problem anymore, and they wouldn't have got killed. So the fact they got killed is because they didn't pick up a hammer and hit the other Muslim that was trying to kill someone. If someone is doing something you don't want them to do to you, it's your responsibility to stop them. And I don't care if you don't like the guy they're doing it to. If you don't want that guy to kill you, then it's your responsibility to kill your friend doing it to them. What is good for the goose is also good for the gander. Now, I didn't make that up. That's another saying that was said well before I was born, and by the time I was in grammar school, I heard that kind of comment. So, truth does get spread out if you share it with people, and lies get passed around when you share those as well. So before you spread a lie, when something sounds, oh my goodness, that's terrible, you have a responsibility. Investigate and see if you were being lied to. Because if you were being lied to, you weren't being shared with, you were being shared and used as a dummy doing the work of the bad people. And the bad people are using millions of dummies to help them foster and perpetuate their lunacy and their destruction. If they're destroyers, they need to be destroyed. No exception. None. So if you see a destroyer, hit him in the head with an hammer. If you see someone that's trying to kill a destroyer, you pick up a rock and help him. You knock the weapon out of the destroyer's hand so that the defender can kill him and get rid of him. Because when we get rid of all of them, the war is over. As long as there's one left, there's still a war going on. So it's every innocent person's responsibility to look around, find out where there are destroyers, and destroy them. And if you need to put a white flag up and get along with a pitchfork and say, I'm going to walk with you, and if I get shot, you'll be able to kill him. And if I don't get shot, I'll stick him with a pitchfork. Then you're one of the defenders. If you're not a defender, you're a comrade of the destroyers. And if you and your family get murdered, you brought it on yourself. That is why it happens. 100 million people die because of destroyers. 100,000 people die because people are defending themselves. So there is a very small percentage of innocent people that die because they're defending. And there's a lot of people that die because of the destroyers. So that is the truth. And the lie is that all you're doing is you're not being a destroyer, you're just fighting for freedom. No, you're not fighting for freedom. Freedom does not come from fighting. Fighting is only a last resort. Fighting comes about as a result of people not cooperating. When the Americans in America stopped giving the tea tax to England and created the Boston Tea Party by dressing as Indians and throwing all the tea overboard, it caused a recession in England as a result of that economic loss. Now, it would be an idiot to say, oh, I saw Indians there. It's all Indians. Let's go kill all the Indians. You've got to find the truth. It was a bunch of Americans dressed as Indians, pretending to be Indians, so the Americans could pass the blame off on someone else. So when you're told something that even seems a little surprising, you have a responsibility to not repeat it until you pretty well know yourself from your own investigation that what was told to you was true. And if there is any doubt along the way, you've got to understand you've been lied to and you're one of the suckers doing the work of the destroyers. The destroyers love suckers. They do the work for them. They cover for them. When they do everything wrong, they get backed up by the idiots. And you are an idiot. You're nothing but a complement of one of the people that also stuck their head up their rear end and did not know right from wrong. And it's pretty simple. If the people are producing a lot of items, or the people are destroying a lot of items, it's not even a close call. You don't have to look twice to see which one is which. You know which is the destroyer. You know which is the producer. You help the producer, and you get in the way of the destroyer. You stop the destroyer at all costs, because if you don't stop him, it can come back to bite you and your family. And how do you know that? Because 100,000 innocent Japanese civilians were killed by an atomic bomb because some pilots flew their planes over Hawaii and bombed Pearl Harbor. Does that mean that the 100,000 people knew when that happened they were going to die? No, but that was the result. That's what happens in war. When I hear one of these people whining about something in Gaza where children and women get murdered, I say that woman should have been on the news of getting killed by a terrorist because she had a machine gun and was mowing down terrorists. And they murdered her because she was killing the killers. Now you have something to complain about. She was a hero. She was someone to be held up and be thankful that we have people like her that's willing to give her life to do the right thing, not be one of the idiots that help the destroyers to cover their position and hide them from the people that are trying to defend themselves and eliminate them. The defenders are only trying to eliminate the bad guys. If you go and tell them where the bad guys are and the bad guys get eliminated, the war would be over. And since the war is not over, we know that you people aren't doing the right thing. You've kept your mouth shut when you should have been talking. You should have been telling Israel where all the bad guys are. The bad guys need to be destroyed. They're destroyers. They're the bad guys. If you don't get rid of them, you're going down with them. And how do you know that? Look at the Shah of Iran. He was told that he was responsible, and this was the destroyers lying to the people, killed 60,000 Iranians. Now, about 200,000 or 300,000 Iranians came out and were out after the Shah's blood. They wanted his blood. They wanted him back from America. They wanted to kill him from the lie they were told. Not the truth, the lie. They were mad because they believed the lie. They were idiots, just like you, an idiot as dumb as they were. Now, what does their stupidity cost? And the only reason I'm calling you stupid is you have to know the cost. You are doing the cost. You are causing other people to die with your stupidity. Now, those 300,000 stupid people that said the Shah killed 60,000 people, well, over 120,000 Iranians were murdered by the guy that took over. He hung innocent people because they disagreed with him. He was a destroyer, he was an idiot, and he got the suckers, which is what you are when you're saying the lies, the suckers in Iran to put him in place so he could murder the citizens. And you're doing the same thing. You're setting up a position where some idiot is going to come in, take over, and murder your family. So don't complain about the women and children, because that's a drop in the bucket from what's going to happen to the rest of you. Because anyone that doesn't agree with the bull he puts on you, he's just going to murder you. That's what they do. If they don't agree with them, they murder them. That's how we know they are horsepower engines that have run totally amok, and all they know to do is murder people that don't agree with them. All you have to do is look at my other videos, and it will tell you the difference between right and wrong. When to look for it, what are the things you need to look for, and what are the things you need to stay away from. And unfortunately, we have so many Muslims having so much influence with so many lies, and so many people pick up on it. They just repeat the lies they're told. And so we have at least 30 to 40% of the Homo sapiens opening their mouth and saying things that are so stupid that if you even had investigated a few of the most basic facts of what you're talking about, you would know you're the one that you got your head up your rear end. And you're the one quoting the lies you've been told so you can support the destroyers. Well, we don't need to have that anymore. We need to clean up our act. We start making what is right, but we want 90 to 95% of the people doing what's right, not 50% of the people doing what's wrong. And if 95% is doing what's right, that only leaves 5% doing what's wrong. That will allow us to take that 5% and every year incarcerate them, put them in a cage, or put them out of their misery if they've been murdering people. And that way, we won't have innocent women and children being murdered because you were an idiot believing the lies that the destroyers were feeding you, and you were backing up destroyers by believing and participating in the lies you were being told. And I'm sure with that, I've gone my 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to have to say this is the end of quotes. I will start another series with my next video. And so this is going to be the end of quotes number 12, which is, right is right if no one is doing it. Wrong is wrong if everyone is doing it. And with that, this is the end of quotes number 12.